Hey there, folks. I am back from the gym at least. But yeah, let's get part three over with, shall we? First civ, we got Augustus Caesar of Rome, Glory of Rome, plus 30% combat strength against city states. Now, usually I'll be against this type of buffs against attacking city states and intimidating them. I don't know, like gaining their gold and shit. But trust me, this gets good. Conquer city states provide yields, happiness, and units gifts as if they were allies. So essentially, I could I could in basis get I don't know, like tons of free units. Theoretically, if I conquer a bunch of military city states, I get a bunch of like free units spawning in on me like every 20 turns or so, and then I get a bunch of happiness if I get if I conquer a mercantile city state, and also I'm pretty sure you get the free luxury that only comes with the city state, if I remember correctly. If I remember correctly, I could be very much wrong. They could have changed that with the current, with the recent version, but hopefully it still works. And also, the free yields is always nice. Okay, excuse me for burping. Now, with the plus 50% production towards the buildings present in capital, I mean that's always nice, because usually in most games, in my opinion, I usually centralize the production within my capital, since the capital tends to be the most resource where most of the resources are most of the time. It's a safe bet that you can put your main factories on a hill, hopefully, or God forbid on like a God forbid on like a tundra tile. And usually it'll work out pretty well since it's your capital. It's where where you're gonna build most of your wonders, most of your national wonders at the very least, and the like. Hopefully, your capital will also be the biggest pop city in your empire. Hopefully, if you build your civ correctly at least. And so the plus 15% production is like, yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. I got nothing to it other than yeah. Next up, we got the Coliseum. Plus 5 production, or excuse me. Plus 5 golden age points when a unit defeats an enemy that unit in a battle. Also plus 10 great general or great admiral if C points if the unit was created by the city that defeated the unit. By the way, plus the tourism, that doesn't matter to me, but the plus 2 production from barracks, forge, and armory, which makes up around 6 production. And the barracks and the forge, it's kind of a given regardless of your play style or what you're gonna do, since you're gonna have to build a forge. A special sense for the forge, it ultimately leads to workshops, which workshops lead to factories. I mean, yeah. It ultimately, you're gonna have to build a forge at some point, and also always gonna have to build a barracks, since at some point in your game, you're going to have to be fighting in a war, whether it be a war declared upon you in a defensive war, or you're going to declare war on someone else, aka an offensive war. So, I always view the barracks and the forge as necessary. Armory, a bit less so, but it's still important, obviously. Since it's the military experience building, you're always going to build something in the lines of barracks, armory, then military academy. If you want to really maximize your units' XP levels, and thus their promotions. And also, by the way, the building itself gives 3 culture and production. So yeah, and the last part, the Legion. Construct forts and roads. The road part is especially good, especially if you're fighting a long-term war. Maybe like it takes like 20 or 30 turns, like conquer a city or something. Perhaps you're fighting Egypt or the Aztecs or the Celts or what have you not. Building the roads can be extremely good, especially when it comes to logistics. When it comes to sieging of cities. There could be times where a unit gets there to the position 2 turns faster. It will change. It'll drastically change the war, since the faster units can get to the front lines, the faster the war is. Since you can conquer cities faster, you kill units faster. The forts. the fort's decent, and like there are times where you're gonna have to build a fort, especially if, well, I don't know, like where just finished conquering a city, and perhaps damn well the enemies are gonna take it back. You probably build a fort like at least around the vicinity of like maybe like 1 or 2 tiles away from the city center. And also, by the way, we got the Pelim, which deals 10 damage to all adjacent units if this unit is fortified when starting a turn, making building a fort a viable strategy. And like, I don't know, perhaps you're gonna have to defend this little stretch of land that pretty much gives access to the enemy to your cities. Maybe you got like a 1 tile that's in between 2 mountains or some shit. Then you build a fort, and you have this legion right here, which starts with cover 1, by the way, which automatically is useful. I will say, it's always useful to have cover 1, especially when you're trying to take over some cities. Even more so if it has like a ranged unit or something, or a melee unit overall. It always comes useful with the cover 1, because you're probably going to be sieging, or at least having your legions blockading the city so it doesn't regain any health. And it probably have like multiple siege units, trebuchets, cannonballs, what have you not. So, in essence, this unit is relatively strong, for the most part at least. And with that being said, Rome will most likely be, let's see here, probably middle A tier. Yeah. Well, well, you're better. You're definitely better than Shoshone, but maybe not as much better than India. Yeah, middle A tier, I call it. Moving on. All right. Next, we got Sweden. Land of the North. Melee units gain plus 20% combat strength when attacking, and siege units gain plus 1 movement. First off, the siege, the movement to plus 1 movement for the siege units is always nice, especially when you're moving on a hill, or God forbid you're moving on like a forest, a hill, or some shit. And then you're gonna have to take some time. Maybe you took like a few hits from the cities itself, or from like the range units within the city. In which case, it's essentially a floaty siege unit, which essentially you can move 1 tile, hit the enemy, move back a tile, probably on a hill, or God forbid a citadel. No less. Yeah, like this. Yeah, like the movement. The 20% combat strength when attacking. If I remember correctly, it's also included in the. I think it includes the city as well, which, if I remember correctly, is nice. That is nice. When a Great General is born, all military land units fully heal and earn plus 15% experience. Nice, not much needs to be said. Plus 50% for 50% bonus for the leadership combat bonuses. Always nice, always nice. Love that last bit. Now, and then we go to Scola. Plus 2 science and 1 culture for every 2 cities in the city. This is extremely useful if you have like a big pop city where, like, I don't know, perhaps you have, by the time you research this, which is in public school, which is in the scientific theory in the industrial age, you'll pretty much have at least a few cities where like more than 10 pops. Perhaps like you have 1 or 2. If you're really lucky, like 20 pop cities. If you have like a shit ton of food at least. And ultimately speaking, it has 2 scientific slots instead of 1. Cheaper to build, and it pretty much costs less overall. And when it comes to gold maintenance, which if I show you over here, plus 5 maintenance. No, it's like, look, the one gold is not much, but if you're building like the Scola and like within like a vast amounts of, like in all over your empire, it's gonna cost overall a bit less. And then we got the Carolion, the unique Swedish Fusilier that specializes in reckless attacks, deals 15% damage to all adjacent units on kill, starts with March, which by the way does 15 damage to all nearly adjacent enemy units on advanced after defeating enemy unit, by the way. So 15 is quite decent. So, and the March too, I mean, it's going to be useful regardless of the fact. And also, it does start with Formation 1 too, so yeah, keep that in mind. And so, with that being said, Sweden might go. Are you? I don't think you're above Rome. So at least with Rome, your abilities, your unique units, your unique building stuff come early. But the Scola is useful. So, and the Carleon is not that bad. Is it? Are you better than free land though? Because the swaths of land for Shoshone is quite massive. Oh, screw it. I'll put you in middle A again. I know like this. The A tier is gonna become crowded soon, but whatever. Moving on now. Now, Maria, Portugal. Metaclasm for each active trade route receive +4 gold in science and great admiral or general points scaling era. Now the free admiral or the free points towards the great admiral or the great general will always be useful. You know, at the very least with the great admiral, you would trade it in with like some brand new luxuries, let's say cocoa or gems, maybe a bit of like wine or two. I know people in this community, in the Vox Populi community, would think admirals are useless, but to me, to me, the great admirals are 50-50. In the sense that even if you don't want a great admiral, you can at the very least trade them in for like a luxury too. So. And a great general will always be useful, by the way, but it's unfortunate that it's on the land trade routes rather than the sea trade routes. So, but anyhow, the 4 gold in the science is extremely useful in the early game, especially the science, of course. So, yeah. Then we got the Victoria. can be structured by workers in own lands to provide yield, or by Portuguese-owned naus. By sell exotic goods and city-state lands. And own cities can only be built on coastal tiles and cannot be adjacent to another Victoria. In the city-state, however, provides untradable coffee, each luxury resource type owned by the city-state. Trade to the city-state generate bonus of food and production based in gold generated from the trade route and relationship with the city-state, i.e. neutral, friendly, or ally. In addition to these bonuses, provide division with the... Okay. Well, to be fair, the canal is useful. Alright, I will say the canal is quite useful, especially if you connect it with a fort, and that connects to like a large lake or something. You can probably have that lake city start making just like a whole bunch of boats, in case like your capital, you're trying to do something with your capital, i.e. build a wonder, so just building a bunch of ships and shit. So you could like, at the very least, make like another city, a sea city in essence. So, but the base yields are always good, +3 production, +4 gold, Now it's even better with the city states as a whole, since like you pretty much get free copper, free wine, free incense, what have you not. You can get those luxuries for free, and thus increase your happiness overall, which in essence makes this improvement genuinely great. Now, not as great as the Hacienda, okay? Nothing's gonna beat the Hacienda in my mind. But at the very least, this will be a wonderful improvement to have. Then, we got the Now. Has 2 exotic cargoes like so when adjacent to a foreign tile, running out to 400 gold and 30 XP scaling the distance for a capital. Which, if I remember correctly, perhaps it'll say right here. Nah, it doesn't say. That's unfortunate. Okay. Because I was thinking of... I'm pretty sure the tile limit in order for you to get the 400 gold and the 30 XP is like... 50 tiles? No, it's like 50 or 40 tiles or something. I forgot the calculation for it, but I know it's a shit ton of gold. Now, granted, it's not like you're gonna like, I don't know, use that 400 gold to like buy a building or some shit, but maybe you're gonna build like a bunch of workers with the 400 gold. Who knows? But the 30 XP is useful. I will say, it's especially useful. Now, let me derail this shit real quick. Now, the exotic cargo's main ability is for you to specifically cargo with the city-state, and thus you get Victoria in that city-state. And if I remember correctly, you remember earlier, free luxuries, and to some extent free yields well, I won't say free, but they are quite better yields via trade routes into the city state itself. And so, well, now, the entire point of it essentially, you spam a shit ton of them. You go to a bunch of city states that's far, far away from you. You click on the exotic cargo button, and then like boom, you get free cargos, shuttle phone. You get free tours in the city states. That's free luxuries and stuff, and that's the entire point of it. You know, which ultimately does make Portugal's unique ability more convenient. Since Merclosm receives +4 gold, science, what have you not from trade routes. Especially this, the Fedora makes the trade routes much better for when you're sending these trade routes into these city states. You can essentially get quite an amount of food, quite a production. If I remember correctly, a normal situation, you know, if you send this sea trade out to Victoria city state, especially if it's your ally, you get quite a bit of yield. I will say it's like five food. If I remember correctly, it's like 7 production. Then it's like 12 gold and then 12 science. Correctly, they might have nerfed it. Unfortunately, they might have nerfed it in the recent version at the very least, but it's still, they're now still good. That's all I gotta say. And with all the ceremonies and I don't know, the hand clapping shit, we'll put fuck it. We'll put Portugal into high B tier, highest in the B tier set, in the B tier self. So, yeah. I don't think they're A tier worthy in my opinion. All right, next we got the most objective, best civilization in the entire game, Poland. Solidarity. Game 1, free social policy. We enter the classical, Renaissance, modern, and information era. Game 2, additional free tenants. We adopt an ideology for the first time. Go unique ability. What else do you want me to say? Free social policy. We enter classical, Renaissance, modern, and information. So, 4 free social policies, which you can spend those free social policies however you fucking want. No, perhaps you're gonna have to. Maybe you're trying to tap into a tradition for the pops. At least it's opening. Then you're gonna spend most of your culture in the authority tree, in which case you can probably, I don't know, use the great free social policies to either dump the policies into tradition or authority, however you see fit. You can use however you fucking want with them when it comes to free social policies, and especially with the free tenants, free ideology. Like, let me show you. So if you go to freedom and you got 2 free social policies. By the way, if you're the first one to found or you're either the first or one of the first ones to found the ideology, you automatically get 1 free tenant policy. In which case, if you reach freedom first, you get 3, which is brilliant, fucking brilliant. In which case, you can spend 3 of those tenants on avant-garde, then civil society, then if I remember correctly, you spend the 3rd one on creative expression. 2 tourism for great works, museums, broadcasts, houses, amphitheaters, 3 golden age points, and 2 culture as well. Avant-garde, which great people are born, increased by 33%, and -2 on habits from boredom. Civil society, especially consume 2 less food than normal. Farms, plantations, camps, and all unique improvements produce +4 food. Do I need to say more? This is a based unique ability. That's all I gotta say. Now, with the Ducal Stable, provides 1 free horse. Nice. Look, with that 1 free horse, you can pretty much sell it if you have like a shit ton of other horses. Especially if you have like a buck ton of cities. If I remember correctly, if you have like 8 cities with 8 Ducal Stables, you get 8 free horses. If you build a Ducal Stable, of course. plus 50% production and 50% XP when building mounted melee units. That stacks up, especially if you have barracks, armory, mill academy, especially of what's it called? Especially of Brandenburg Gate, +1 military supply, always nice. And the Charter Tryouts when state generous +2 production, it's decent. And in of itself, the building gives you +3 production. So, overall, cut that out. Cut the production out, please. Overall, this is. Oh yeah, by the way, almost forgot. Usually with a stable, it gives +2 production to all pasture yields. Now, with the Ducal Stable, it goes +1 extra production and also +3 gold. Which, if you have enough pastures, it would easily add up to give you more gold than it is for you to build the Ducal Stable and to maintain it as well. So, overall, this is a great building. And with all being said, unfortunately, it's the best. I don't. Now, in my personal opinion, I don't love playing as Poland because I know for a fact that it's overpowered. Okay. I like playing as Spain, Aztecs, or Korea a bit more, since at least you're gonna have to at least put some bit of effort into it. But like with Poland, even if you have like a shit start, even like shitty desert incense with like the side of fucking on like coral or some shit, you're probably gonna be at least in the top 3 competing civs in the entire game, just solely based on the fact that you have solidarity, just because of your unique ability. Okay. And that really pisses me off, since I find playing Poland. Cut this out, please. I didn't do this. Alright, last but not least, we got the Wing Hussar. Now, it's much more faster, being faster than the Lancer, +4 movement, +5, always nice. Gain combat strength bonus when attacking units that cannot retreat, and forces its targets to retreat if possible. It has more combat strength than its target when attacking. Brilliant. Especially if you have a charge promotion. You essentially stack up with the heavy charge, plus resistance compensate when attacking if the target cannot retreat. In which case, if you're attacking, let's say like a Fujili or something, with perhaps you got like a crossbow guy shooting at him, and you got the Wing Hussar attacking him, added by the fact of if you can get the promotion charge, that increases damage against enemies who are wounded. And if the timings, if the conditions are right, you can essentially kill that unit. You just pretty much just damn near one-shot him. Yeah, that's how overpowered the Wing Hussar is. Now, it does require horses, but then again, you're automatically gonna get it because you have the Ducal Stable. Remember, gives free horses, and and also it gives formation +1. So pretty nice. Yeah. I mean, do I need to negotiate S tier? Unfortunately, it's better than Spain, better than Aztecs, better than Zulu, better than Korea ultimately. So, not much more need to be said other than Poland's go, I guess. Now we got Persia. Came in a legacy. Golden Age lasts 50% longer. 50% of your gross income or gross gold income is converted to golden age points every turn. During the golden age, units receive +1 movement and +50% combat strength. Now, with the golden age lasting longer, and with the gross gold income is converted to golden age points, you essentially Persia is best in the late game, in my opinion, since you get glory of the god. And then you can spam a shit ton of great artists. Have them be... So right here, you just spam a shit ton of great artists, and then have them pop and generate a large sum of golden age points. Now, it's gonna depend... it's gonna depend on, your tourism output, the number of theme sets of great works you got, But if you just have like I don't know, like a 1, 2, or even 3 theme sets of great works, you're gonna be golden. Okay, it doesn't. You don't need much for like for you to stack up a shit ton of golden age points. Excuse me, and then hopefully you get an eternal golden age, or your golden age is gonna last forever and shit until the end of the game, or whenever you feel like quitting or some shit. Which I like it, and like during the golden age, plus 1 move for movement, 15% combat strength. Yeah, that's straight up great. I got nothing to say. Now, with the Sage's Court, it's supposed to replace them for the Count Courthouse, which you can only build in conquered cities, as expected. Plus 1 gold for every 3 citizens in the city, plus 1 gold for science, engineers, and merchants, especially in the city. And, that's what the courthouse does. And limits extra happiness for the occupied city, if it's occupied, obviously. And it automatically gives plus 1 happiness, and automatically gives you gold, which with the courthouse, it pretty much has you maintain it at 3 gold per turn. So, yeah, I mean, this is fucking brilliant. This is especially the case if you like conquered it conquered it as a high pop city, since it automatically a whole lot of potential when you inevitably eliminate the extra happiness from the occupy or the occupancy, and thus you can actually transform into an actual good city that is the same as yours when it comes to being productive, building buildings, creating units, and generating a whole bunch of culture, science, and what have you not. Like with the Sage's Core, it's like, yeah, I mean, you're never gonna conquer like one city in your playthrough, in my opinion, or at least most of your playthroughs in Civ 5 Vox Populi. So it's kind of, the courthouse is essentially necessary, and with the Sage's Core, it just makes it extremely convenient, especially since it gives you gold, which adds to the gross gold income, which is converted to golden age points too. So yeah, great building. And with the Immortal, it's quite simple. I mean, heals faster and gives a defensive bonus, which you can probably see right here, plus 10% when healing, which if you're healing in enemy territory, it's 15. If you're healing in neutral territory, it's 20. And if I remember correctly, if you're healing in a healing in friendly territory or your own territory, matter of fact, it's like 30 points. It's either that or it's like you're healing 30 points in a city. But yeah, that's a whole lot of HP, especially if you have like someone or like a unit in your army that has like a medic 1 or medic 2. You can stack. I think you can stack the medic promotion very well with the faster healing, in my opinion. Although, hold up, you actually keep it. Okay, I never knew that. I honestly never knew that. But if you have armor plating plus 20% combat strength when defending, which is, by the way, it only applies to other like units in the modern, atomic, or even information era. So, interesting enough, armor plating comes in handy when it comes to the Immortal, so alongside with a giant death robot. But yeah, and also gets plus 1 free formation 1. I think it's better combat strength than even the Spearman, slightly. 13, Spearman's got 12. Decent unit. And so, with all that being said, it's going into, fuck it, I'm putting you above Sweden, because at least with Persia's abilities, you can use the Immortal in the Sage's Court immediately, since those things are available early game, whereas with Sweden, it's like the Caerleon and the Skola can only be accessed, I believe it's the Industrial Age, if I remember correctly. Since the Caerleon is a replacement with the Fusilier and like the Skola is a replacement for the public schools, you're gonna have to wait a lot longer for Sweden in order to unlock your building and your units. Whereas with Persia, it's like earlier. You get the Immortal, then the Sage's Court, which will come useful a whole lot earlier in your game, and thus having a longer impact in your game. So, yeah, that should explain it. All right. Then we got Japan. shogunate. +1 culture and faith from the defense buildings, which is nice. When a great admiral or a great general is born, gain 50% production towards a great artist, writer, and musician in your capital. Now, if you're constantly going to war, or you're like, I don't know, killing a bunch of barbs or some shit, you'll gain a whole lot of. You'll inevitably have a great general, which case you'll pretty much generate automatically a great writer, artist, and a musician. Especially if you go down tradition, you unlock the buildings for the writers, the musician, and the artists. Essentially, you'll pretty much become, by accident, a cultural powerhouse. if the conditions are right, of course. Now, usually, if you generate like a great artist, writer, or musician, you'll just say, yeah, that's something, free culture, I guess. You don't have to do as much work as you're pretty much going hard culture, trying to generate the great artists, writers, and what have you not. And then, you can just earn it by, simply generate a great admiral or a great general, which you can also exploit this by, getting Glory of God once again. I know, it's over fucking powered. And then, you just spam, you can spam great general, then admiral, general, what have you not. If you have, of course, if you have enough faith for that, of course. But plus culture and faith, +1 culture and faith for defense buildings, that'll always be useful. Then we got the dojo, +20% XP for all units, nice. +2 military supply, nice. Which, if you did not know, the dojo replaces the army, which gives only 20% XP for all units and +1 military supply. So yeah, it's flat out better than the armor itself that it replaces. Omele, mounted melee, gunpowder, and armor units trained in the city receive the 8 virtues of Bushido promotions, which I'll show you in a bit. When units created by the city get experience through combat, receive science and culture equivalent to 40% of their gain XP. Now, if say for instance, you have a samurai that has 40 XP or some shit. Okay, and then he kills a pike mare. The science and the cultural, equals to 1% the gain XP. So let's calculate this shit here. Well, let me pull this up. So theoretically, 40 XP, which is hold on, let me see here. Added by. So I'm assuming it's plus 140%. So it makes up for nice science and culture. That's nice. That is, if you're constantly going at war, that is a nice chunk of science and culture. So, and I gotta show you the promotions here. Now the 8 virtues of Bushido, it pretty much randomly gives one of your units one of these promotions at their first combat: righteous, benevolence, respect, sincerity, honor, loyalty, self-control, courage. And we're gonna see, where is it? First, we got the righteousness, +20% combat strength when attacking units or at or below 50%, +1 combat strength for every 3 HP below maximum health, and eliminates combat penalties for attacking or defending against melee attacks while wounded. Heals +10% after defeating an enemy. Now, in my opinion, this is the least useful promotion you get, but I would say it's still decent. Since I will say, the righteousness did save me a few times whilst playing at Japan. I'll say at least a couple of times when it comes to at least taking a city at the very least. So, yeah, it's not useful. It's not useless, but I wouldn't say it's incredibly useful. Then we got the self-control, +50% combat strength when defending, +1 combat strength for every 3 health below maximum health. And it's plus combat penalties where attacking or defending against melee units while wounded, and then gets a free complimentary +10 HP for defeating a unit. So, I will say this is I will say this is the same level of righteousness. The righteousness promotions is this could be useful in some circumstances, but for the most part, it's it's whatever. Now, for the respect, +20% combat strength when attacking units above 50% health, which is most of the time in my opinion. Plus 1% combat strength for every 3 HP below maximum health. This is essentially this is good for essentially attacking, specifically Citadel units. Citadel like defended range units in my opinion. So bring this like with like a I don't know, a samurai with respect. Come up with like 3 crossbowmen or 3 trebuchets. You're gonna break through that citadel. I mean, that's the only time where I see this promotion being useful in my opinion. Benevolence is plus 5 HP healing for units adjacent to this unit, or for units adjacent to this tile. Just like the rest, got this stuff. Now for the HP when healing for units adjacent to this tile, this is, if I remember correctly, this is also be stacked by Medic 1 and Medic 2. Now, with Medic 1, you said you get plus 5, and then it's right here for Medic 2. Plus 5 when healing for units on or adjacent to its tile, plus 5 HP when healing outside friendly territory. This just pretty much just wipes out any, for the most part, wipes out any possibility of like, maybe like you'll pretty much be, if everything's going well, you're pretty much gonna be healing virtually every turn or so. Even with like without March or without Medic, just with this, it's extremely useful, I will say. Now we got Sincerity, plus 3% experience gained from combat. I take that back. I take that back from the righteousness or the self-control. I think this well, it's not useless, but it could be a whole lot better. It could be a whole lot better in my opinion. Now, Honor, in my opinion, is the most useful promotion with the Bushido code. Plus 50% combat strength outside of friendly territory. Always nice. Nothing else to say. It's just nice. And then we got Loyalty, plus 50% combat strength inside friendly territory. It's whatever. What else can I say? Okay. And then we got Courage, plus 50% combat strength when attacking. I see it similar to to Honor, or the Honor promotion, where essentially this will come into use quite often, so yeah. And then last but not least, we got the Samurai. Gains 50% more experience and produces 1% more Great General points from combat than normal. It starts with automatically Quick Study, and then with the Great Generals 2, obviously. Now, unfortunately, well, I wouldn't say unfortunately, it has Discipline, plus 10% combat strength when defending against range attacks, plus 10% hit points. Always nice. Nice. Of course, it requires Iron. It replaces the Longswordsman. I mean, not with the Great General points. If you're going to combat constantly, it can help you speed run through Great Artists, guilds and stuff, writers guilds, musicians, whatever not. I'm pretty sure that's the entire point of the Great Generals 2 promotion and the Quick Study promotion. But well, it's whatever. It's just whatever. Okay. Look, I'm just building these because I want to. I'm not building it because I need them in order to win a war. I'm just building just because free promotions when I upgrade these. If I remember correctly, you can't. Yeah, well, it cannot be chosen. It's just that it cannot be lost whenever I upgrade them. So you can keep those abilities when upgrading. So yeah, that's kind of virtually the reason why you build these shits in the first place. So yeah, it's whatever. And with all that being said, Japan would automatically. I will say I do have a lot of fun playing as Japan, but it's just the right conditions need to be set. So bottom of A. It's gonna piss off a lot of Wii's, but whatever. Deal with it. I don't know what to tell you. I just like playing as Spain a whole lot more. I think Poland's objectively more powerful. I mean, Bruh, I hate the fact that I put them right next to Germany, but whatever. We're gonna move on. Snap, let's go. Alright, we got Hiawatha, the Iroquois, the Great Warpath. Units moved through forest and jungle as if they were roads, and these tiles established for city connections. Military units, land units start with the Woodsman promotion, which the promotion is necessary because, even with the established connections, for like forests and jungles, you're still gonna run into the problem of your units like not having enough movement shit. They're not. This is a great ability early game, but at some point you're gonna have to build roads just cause like they're just better than like like the Great Warpath ability. Okay, especially when the railroads come in, and then like it'll just make part of this ability like useless in my opinion. But in the early game it's just especially useful, especially when you're going to war. Logistics will be quite easy since most of the military land units you got will always start Woodsman. That's like saving promotion, like perhaps you get amphibious for like the ignore damage weakness that comes from attacking over a river. So I say it's like 50-50 in my opinion. Next, we got the Longhouse. Plus 1 food and production for forests, jungles, marshes, plantations work by this city. Now, this replaces the Herbalist. Adds +1 culture and +2 food, which is better than the Herbalist itself, since it only gives +1 food, mind you. And if I don't think here's the yields here, by the way. Now this is a whole lot better. This is a whole lot better than like vanilla Civ 5 Iroquois, which was probably one of the weakest units, or one of the weakest civilizations in the entire fucking game. And I'm grateful that like VP actually boosted, like, French give him a massive buff in my opinion. I think the Longhouse is essentially pretty good. And then we got the Mohawk Warrior. The excels like forest and jungle warfare, does not require iron, nice, and automatic starts with the Woodsman, which it'll always be useful in my opinion. And also it gives like plus 10% combat strength in rough terrain, which counts as forests and jungles, and also hills too, by the way. Excuse me. There's not much to say. This is pretty decent unit. I got nothing else to say. With this with the Iroquois, if you do an early war, if you do win, and by win I mean total victory, if like you conquer a civ, that is wonderful. That's wonderful. The buffs, the units, the buildings, you get them quite early in the game. So I will say you're better than Japan, you're better than Germany, better than the Ottomans in my opinion, better than Arabs, better than Siam, Sweden. I'll put you right beside Persia at least, since I like Persia's unique ability a lot more than Iroquois. Which, look, units move the forest and jungle as if there are roads, and let's see here. And these tiles establish city connection is useful. They are useful, but eventually you're gonna have to build roads, and eventually, hopefully you'll build railroads. Since objectively, those will help you a lot better when it comes to logistics, when it comes to moving units, when it comes to moving workers around your empire and stuff. So this is a great early game, but it just becomes nothing by the late game. When it comes to information era, chances are you're probably gonna have a little to no force left in your empire. I'm sorry to say so, but middle A tier again. Now we got Gajah Mada, Indonesia, Sumber Palapa, Wingate City, one of 3 unique luxuries, with pepper, that's one of them, nutmeg, and where's the other one? Cloves, right here. Now, the base yields aren't that too good. Pretty sure cloves gives gold. The base yields for this is +1 production and +1 gold. And over here we got where was it? Pepper. Right here we got the pepper with the +1 food and gold too. Now for the improvements right here, it does increase it. Where was it? For nutmeg, the improvement yields in the base yield is look. The luxuries themselves aren't too good. But what's most important is that it gives free happiness. We have the luxuries online, okay? And especially if you have the monopolies for them, it increases for the cloves is +6 empire-wide happiness. So that's nice. That's nice. And for the nutmeg, gives +10% production in all cities. Nice. It's just where is it? It's just the copper here. And then we got for the pepper, +3 food for resource tile. Yeah, baby. That's kind of useless, I won't lie, but you know, like with Indonesia's unique ability, it gives +5% to yield and golden age duration modifiers from global monopolies, +2% or +2 to yield and happiness from global monopolies overall. So it does buff the cloves, the nutmeg, and the pepper. So, since you're mostly going to have monopolies with, at the very least, 3 of them, that's minimum, it's going to give you quite a bit of happiness, quite a bit of yields, It's all, they're going to make the base yields pretty good, and they're going to make the gold monopoly bonuses pretty good too. So, yeah, nice unique ability. And for the Kandi, for the cloves, pepper, or nutmeg resource will appear near or under the city when constructed. Nice. That makes it so you get 1 extra random luxury whenever you build this city, and plus 1 extra another resource whenever you build the Kandi. So I mean that's free. That's nice. +20% combat, +20% great people generation in this city, +50% culture and faith during the We Love the King days. Nice. I mean, that's pretty much wonderful to me, especially since considering where it places the garden gives you +3 culture and 2 faith. Yeah, I mean, what else could I say other than it's pretty great in my opinion. Then we got of course swordsman. The unique Indian swordsman has a mystic blade whose abilities will be discovered the first time used in combat, just like with Japan, by the way. Now, thankfully, it says right here, invulnerability, +2 damage from all sources, +20% HP when healing. Bonkers. Literally bonkers, especially when you have, like I said, when you have Medic 1, Medic 2. Bonkers, I'm just saying. Sneak attack, +20% flanking bonus, in North Terrain causing Zoc. So, not as good as invulnerability, but it is in some circumstances, some situations, it can be godly. It can be godly, especially if like a ranged attacks when you're attacking like a certain citadel unit, certain defending citadel units. So anyhow, enemy blade heals 10 HP starting in turn inside enemy territory. Okay. Deals 10 damage to enemies ending a turn adjacent to this unit. This damage ignores damage reduction. Nice. Just nice. I mean, just fucking nice. Determination, +30% combat strength when attacking. Yes. Yeah, this is straight up good. +5% combat strength when defending. Yeah, that's fine by me. Intentional protection. Plus, it's the other way around with the determinations. And just switch the yields around. And ceaselessness, +1 attack, and +1 movement. So, yeah, this is great. Like, what else do I need to say? This is better than the swordsman. Maybe not by combat strength, but definitely by the abilities the swordsman can do. So, yeah, rad unit, fucking rad unit. And with all that being said, bottom A, screw it. Well, I would say you're better than. Ooh, this is gonna be spicy. You're better than Siam. Maybe, you're better than Arabia, Siam. You might be better than Iroquois. I don't know about Persia. You might be side by side by Persia. So, yeah, I think that's good to me. Then we got Pachacuti, the Inca. The Great Andean Road used to cross the mountain or terrain costs when entering any hill or mountain. Cities, roads, and railroads may be built on mountains. Mountains produce +1 food, gold, and science when worked, scaling with era. Now, the terrain costs when entering hills or mountains is wonderful for recon units. This is wonderful early game, wonderful mid game, wonderful late game, what have you not, okay? Now you're eventually gonna have to build roads, so you're gonna need the city connections and then the railroads too. But like, that's for late game. Early game, this is wonderful. This is straight wonderful. And mountains produce +1 food, gold, and science, and it's especially a whole lot better when it comes to if you build what's that one wonder? Now, if you build Machu Picchu, which there's a good possibility you're gonna build it regardless. It also gives +1 food, production, culture, and faith for every mountains within 3 tiles of the city. That is bonkers, especially if it's in your capital city or it's in a city that has a shit ton of mountains right besides it. So, that's really good. Like, really good unique ability. And then we got the Pata Pata with the base yield to 1 food, 2 production. Can only be built in hills, unfortunately. +1 food for each adjacent mountain or Pata Pata. All chains and farms get +1 extra food. Which, if hopefully, perhaps you're near one mountain, you're near a manufacturer, you're near Pata Pata also. So, which gives you around. Well, mostly good happen is it gives you +5 food. And +4 production in most cases, which is wonderful since those other food and production are basically what you're gonna need for the entire game. So, especially if you have like a shit ton of mountains, like I said, you're gonna be the Incas, which you're gonna spawn near mountains. Obviously, what do you expect? In which case, you're gonna have some great uses with this, especially if they have like a bunch of mountain ranges that you places like one of your cities like in it, like in a mountain range more or less, and you just build a ton of these. You're gonna be full of food. You're gonna be full of food. You're gonna have high pop cities, if God wills it, of course. But this is a great improvement in my opinion. Not as good as Hacienda, like I said. I am a Spanish supremacist. You cannot convince me otherwise. I don't give a fuck what anyone else says in the comments. The Hacienda will be great. Will always be great. Will forever be a masterpiece. But this is also great too. And then we got the well, I wouldn't say the letdown, but just like the meh part of the Civ, the Warcock, unique Inca Slinger that has increased attack range. Okay. Nor zone of control and can daze enemy units, lowering the combat strength, which is good. The attack range is good too, but just like I remember some people like saying like you can use this unit and just spam them out, just spam a shit ton of them out, attack the nearest save you can find, and then pretty much conquer them. But to me, I prefer to use these units as like barb hunters. You know, tag them alongside with like a spearman or like a warrior or some shit, and these things will take out the barbs really quickly. And besides that, it also gets replaced. The upgrade unit, it never gets replaced by the archer, which becomes us. Hold on, let me see here. They inevitably become obsolete quite early, I will say. That's like the unfortunate part, but like, yeah, these are mediocre in my opinion. And thus, I will put these babies at, you know what? S tier, fuck it. S tier, yeah. I'm starting to feel it. This should be S tier in my opinion. All right, then we got Alexander with Hellenic League. Influence degrades has half, recovers at twice as normal. No, it's twice as normal, right? +5% combat strength of owned or allied units for each city-state alliance, up to 20%. Treat neutral city-state territory as friendly territory, which means you can heal faster in the city-state territory than if it was neutral. And the influence degradation is half and recovers at twice as normal rate. Is quite magnificent, especially if you combine this with the with the statecraft policy tree. And as you, by the way, complete the tree, by the way, each statecraft policy unlocks grants, plus 1 gold for every city, and plus 10% influence from diplomatic missions. So if you build like a shit ton of diplomats, or what have you not, and send them to city-states, chances are they'll most likely be your ally from beginning to end, from ancient to fucking information era. You're always gonna have them as your buddy, okay? And especially if you get like a spy on them, and even more so if you have like sphere influence, which solidifies the fact that they're yours and they're always gonna be yours forever, okay? And I do like the combat strength for every owned or allied units for each city-state alliance. So yeah, that's nice. Then we got the Acropolis. +5 border growth when the unit defeats an enemy unit in battle. Okay. Yeah, that's something. Also, 20% culture of the unit was created by the city. Whenever it defeats a unit, what have you not. Oh yeah, by the way, it says right here in the strategy tab, it also increases defensive strength. I don't know how much, since I never pay attention to defensive strength for the city. So yeah, I guess it's cool and rad. Also, besides the increased +3 culture, it also gives tourism, which that is something. Especially if you're going for like from early war to late hard culture victory and shit in the late game. That could be extremely useful, especially if you get what was that one Reformation policy? Especially since if you get faith of the masses, which if you purchase you can purchase the Acropolis, if I remember correctly, with faith, and then also produce +2 culture each, per each building. And the whole city owner gets +1 happiness for every 2 cities following this religion. Which, if you're going with early war or like late culture and stuff, that's your strategy with the Acropolis, in my opinion, at least. And like, who cares about the other stuff? That's like part of the amphitheater as is. So, and then we got the Hoplite. Stronger produces double the gold and great general points. Okay, that's something. From combat to normal. Does have GG2, same as the samurai, by the way. In culture, combat strength for each adjacent owned land unit. So like, let's say unit right here. Plus 10% combat strength just entirely, and 50% combat strength per adjacent owned land unit. Have 3 hoplites right next to each other, hugging each other like there's like a brotherhood in the closet and shit. So, and by the way, it's objectively better than the regular spearman right here. 12. This comes with 14. If you're able to spam a shit ton of hoplites, this is a great unit. If you're able to spam them, of course. If you have the production, if maybe you feel like you rush like a great engineer, maybe you get like a main factory early up and running. This is a great unit in my opinion. And with all being said, this is going to got a lot of feeling beats here. Well, nah, I think you're equal on par with Portugal, in my opinion. So yeah, moving on. Next, we got Napoleon, France. Logan Armée. Melee gunpowder units may enlist defeated units, or defeat enemies, whatever the fuck you want. Use what kind of word you want to use, which is like military supply. Nice. +1 culture and tourism in every city for every 10 military units, and plus 50% military from population. Now, a great way to dramatically increase your culture and tourism is by conquering a shit ton of barbs. Killing barbs, invading the encampments. That'll give you at least a few barbarians. And if you're able to, you can upgrade them, and then you can carry on. Like, you have like a big barb army. Hopefully you can upgrade them to like at least decent units, and then you could probably like conquer a civ or some shit with them. I use the obscenely large army, like I say, maybe like 50 units, and my military supply was over by 10. So my supply cap was 40, and my actual unit size was 50 units. So a ton of look, it was a whole lot of misproduction. Let's just say, whole lot of lost production, lost food. Since like the more you have over the max military cap, the more food it takes for you to promote a pop to like from 18 to 19 population of cities or some shit. But at the very least, with the it does help, since like with the 50% military supply from the population, if you just increase your food by a shit ton, and hopefully you increase your pop by like 20, 25 or something, you can pretty much slowly negate it over time. But in the short term, it's going to be painful. But in the long run, you'll be better off for it. Trust me. The unique ability does get extremely good if you know what you're doing, at least. Now, with the chateau, the base, it can only be built adjacent to luxury resources. Can be adjacent to another chateau, obviously. And the defense strength, I don't really give a fuck. I will just be honest. I like this. I kind of like this improvement just because of the base heals, which is +2 culture, +3 food, and +2 gold. Which, by the way, does come out of chivalry, which is early medieval era, if I remember correctly. So yeah, and also this is right here, which upgrades, like further improves upon the chateau. Printing press, +1 culture. Flight, which is I like how the jump is from printing press, which is in the Renaissance, to like flight and shit, like modern era. Okay, yeah, it's so worth it. But like being frail, it's like it's a mediocre improvement in my opinion. Then we got the Musketeer, which is the best thing about France in my opinion. Now, it excels at delivering fast attack into enemy territory. It can move faster. Norzak, nice. And it says right here, lightning warfare, Norzak, +2% combat when attacking, and +1 movement, which means you can essentially, if you're fighting hills, you can essentially move through two hill tiles, in my opinion. Which that's wonderful. That's just wonderful. It's the same reason as I kind of like building the Pictish Warriors, because it ignores hills, which is for the most part the most annoying part about fighting in a war. Is the terrain cost, terrain cost overall. Zog can be annoying at times, but overall terrain cost is part of the annoyance of organizing your army and shit, especially if you're invading like a large ass fucking civilization or some shit. But these are especially good. They come out in the gunpowder, so in the Renaissance, and these replace the tercios, obviously, and if I remember correctly, these are straight up better versions of the tercios. Tercios gives 25 combat strength. This gives 30. So this is objectively a better unit overall. So yeah, there's not much to complain. It's just a great unit. And the results are in, and it's well, this is gonna be wrong, but I'm gonna put this besides. I'll move up Germany. I think you're better than Arabia. I think France is just in the same wavelength as in Germany. I got no problems with it. I like the unique ability is a bit iffy to work. If you're able to get a shit ton of kills on barbarians, or maybe you got like a few kills off of a civ or some shit, you're gonna be rolling in culture and tourism almost immediately. Like I remember on turn 100 as France, this is a French game by the way, I essentially had what was it? I had 50 tourism, then nearly 200 culture, which is beautiful in my opinion. And like, although I had like over the military unit supply, I was like, at the time I was like 15 over. I was barely growing at all. My production was fucking dog shit. But at the very least, I was at least able to have like a shit ton of culture to compensate for it. So yeah, that's something. The chateaus, it's whatever. It's mediocre, like I said. I I got nothing else to it. The Musketeer is by far, like, easily the best part of France, in my opinion. Carries the whole fucking Sith on its ass, on its back, on its fucking knees, you name it. Okay, that unit is golden. So yeah, H there you go then. Next, so we got Haile Selassie, Ethiopia, Solomon of Wisdom. When you complete a policy branch, damn. Adopt new beliefs or choose your first ideology, receive 1 free tech. So, in every game, you're gonna at least unlock, at bare minimum, 3 policy trees. You're hopefully, if you're able to find a religion, you're gonna have most likely 5 beliefs. So that makes 8 free techs. Your first ideology receive 1 extra tech, so that makes up for 9 techs, which either you can like easily snake up to like a either to snipe a tech, so you can get like a certain wonder, such as Brandenburg Gate, Soho Foundry, what have you not, I don't know, CN Tower, some shit. You can use those 9 free techs however you please, which will always be useful since science, you're using science, you're going to unlock culture buildings, faith buildings, science buildings in themselves, food buildings, production buildings. Yeah, that will always be useful, and the +1 faith from strategic resources is nice. Yeah, nice unique ability. Then we got the Stele, +25% faith during Golden Ages, and by the way, it also gives 2 faith, and alongside with the 2 culture from the monument. This is wonderful. Chances are you're going to, unless India is in the game, you're going to be the first to found a religion, alongside maybe like Cowles or Spain or some shit. You're going to be one of the first people to found a religion, like, which is golden in my opinion, since you can have the spoils of choosing whatever beliefs you want for your playstyle, for your playthrough, in my opinion. And yeah, this is a brilliant replacement for the monument, in my opinion. Then we got the Maha Safari, fighting in friendly territory, especially when your capital starts at cover 1. Now, your capital bonus falls off by 3 per tile, your capital up to 9 tiles away, so it's whatever. Like the cover 1 right here, then the Homeland Guardian, +1 has the construct inside friendly. Okay, that's nice. Formation 1, and overall this is a mediocre unit, in my opinion. Now, with all that being said, Ethiopia is going up into high A tier, most likely sitting right next to Austria or China or something. Maybe lower, possibly lower. But I think the free text, the 9 free text you're gonna get. Well, hopefully, if you chose your first ideology, if you got 3 policy branches done, which is to be expected, if you're able to find a religion, which you're going to be able to, it's going to put you up ahead in technological terms. So I say arguably you're better than China. Maybe you're better than Maya, but I don't think you're better than Russia. So near high A tier. I think that's great. And then we got England with the Pervades Albion, +1 moving for naval embarked units. Nice. +20% naval unit gold maintenance. Okay, I mean that's something. If you build a shit ton of naval ships, that could be make up for a good change of gold, I will say. It's decent. +50% city security in all cities. All right. That's whatever. Plus spies travel into any city in 1 turn. Nice. And 20% stronger in foreign cities. Also nice. Starts with spy. Brilliant. Now, I will say, the city security is kind of useless, at least from my own experience, since damn it, no matter how damn it, no matter if you build a constabulary or a police station or what have you not, they'll somehow steal your fucking text under any circumstances, in my opinion. But the spies represent any city in one turn. Nice, automatically beautiful. 20% stronger in foreign cities. Also nice. Start the spy automatically. It's turn 1, turn 0 actually. Brilliant. You can just put a spy on like a culture city state or religious city state or military city state. You can essentially just keep them until the very least Renaissance, or essentially your rule over that city state will probably be challenged. But until then, that city state is essentially yours. If you just like, I don't know, keep spamming a few diplomats or some shit. Few diplo units, 90 influence, what have you not, you should be good. But anyways, decent unique ability. Then we got the White Tower, which provides automatic 2 iron, plus 40 gold in signs when you identify, capture, or kill a foreign spy when you perform a spy mission, which will most likely be a case, and plus 25 gold in signs when you successfully rig an election in the city or construct a building in the city. Also really nice. And by the way, construct a building in the city, which is most likely going to be your capital. And also, plus one culture for all constabularies castles in armory. Excuse me, which does work well with the authority. And eventually, if you go down to autocracy, which you get the free culture and the free happiness. So here, with the new order, plus 2 on happiness from food and from food just production distress in all cities. Placing established place provides plus 3 culture and production and are constructed 100 times more quickly, which works well with the White Tower. Let me show you here. Which works wonders with the White Tower. With the constabularies especially. And overall, let me show you what the right here. Just gives plus 10 production. And it adds further on with the plus 2 culture and gold, science, and defense too. I'm pretty sure it doesn't give you that much any defense. No defense, so yeah. Quite a great national wonder replacement. Then we got Ship of the Line, unique English frigate that specializes in wrestling control of the seas. Goes with extra vision, splash damage. Wonderful. The splash damage will always be nice. Now, fortunately, the land attacks can only perform on coastal tiles. I think that's perfectly fine. And this does work wonders. And by the way, this just flat out increases the combat strength and the range combat strength. When it comes to the frigate itself, 25, 35 to 28, 38, plus it's only plus 3, but it is something when it comes to naval combat, which makes this a wonderful unit, just simply because of the fact that splash damage will always be useful, especially if you're hitting a city itself that has multiple units around it. It just makes it wonderful in my opinion. And with all that being said, personally speaking, I think it's going on bottom A. Mostly because even though the Ship of the Line is a wonderful unit, it's only a naval melee unit overall. So let me see here. So naval range unit, scratch that off the fucking charts. It may be a naval range unit, but I still do think that you're not guaranteed to have a naval neighbor. You're going to have more so of a land neighbor, in my opinion. So it just makes all naval units less useful overall, but still, the Ship of the Line is a great unit. The White Tower is quite good, especially if you go like full autocracy and stuff, go New World Order, and things and such. Now, this is decent as a whole. It could be a whole lot better if you go through certain paths, like I said, autocracy for instance. And then the great unique ability, the city security is whatever, it's fucking relevant. The naval gold is minuscule. The gold maintenance is minuscule for the naval units. And the movement is nice. And spies, spy in one turn, and stronger in foreign cities. Start with a spy is brilliant. So yeah, bottom of A. All right, third to last, we got damn it, cut that out, please, cut it out. All right, third to last, we got Ramses the second of Egypt. Monument builders, plus 20% production towards wonders, plus 40 during the Golden Ages. Brilliant. Alright. Artifacts gave plus 5 science and culture, and landmarks gave plus 5 gold and tourism. Alright. The landmarks are just whatever. They're only relevant because of the happiness. The artifacts, yeah, they're whatever. But the production towards wonders, now that's the game changer. Okay? That's the thing that's carrying the whole ability. Especially when it's a golden age. Then we get the burial. See a free Egyptian artifact when constructed. Plus 1 gold and food for every 1.5 desert or 1.5 tundra tiles worked by the city. This is a replacement for the caravanserai. Gives plus faith 2. No, I would say the artifact is nice. I'm not saying it's dog shit. I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm just saying it's just nice. It gives free the plus 5 gold or plus 5 science and culture. My bad. So theoretically, we have 10 cities that builds the burial tombs. This is great. Like the plus, it makes up for a good chunk of like science and culture. So especially in the early game too. So yeah, decent building. Then we got the war chariot, unique cherry archer. It doesn't require horses. Nice. Grants production of defeat enemies equal to 150% of the combat strength. Also nice. Now here's the the promotion for the production as a whole. Gifted to Pharaoh. If you look down over here, Beam Axle, enter forest, jungle, marsh, and hills cost plus 1% movement. Does not stack. Last not upgrade, thankfully, which immediately makes the war chariot as a whole just. Well, the chariot archers, as like the default unit makes it useless. So, yeah. I mean, look. It doesn't require horses. That's one thing. And if we check right here, it slightly increases the strength of the chariot archer, which it's only slightly, but it is something. It is something. I will say, saying movement and it's just mediocre in my opinion. And with all that being said, it's just top B tier. Well, you can probably excuse the very bottom A. The wonder production is wonderful, especially if you're in a golden age. Which, if you do, I don't know how to say this, but if you do stack great artists, like give it like a few theme works, which is possible since you got the artifacts every time you build the barrier tombs, so you can get themed, which could work on artifacts more correctly. So it could increase the yield that you get from popping great artists as a whole, and thus turning yourself into an eternal golden age until like the end of the game and shit. Thus, having plus 40% wonder production is just blatantly wonderful. That's probably the main reason why I'm putting it into bottom of A rather than top of B tier, in my opinion. Then we got the Netherlands. Dutch East India Company, plus 3 gold and culture for each unique luxury resource you import or export from and to other civilizations and city-states. Scaling era can import duplicate luxuries from cities, which count towards monopolies. Now, the last part is quite useful since perhaps you spawn like an unlucky star, perhaps like you spawn with the majority of gold, and then like you unfortunately just barely cut short with the monopoly since I don't know, perhaps Arabia has the rest of the gold, and which you can only you can trade it in exchange for like gold and stuff. And that counts as a monopoly, which is useful. It does it still gives you the monopoly bonuses, obviously, but I don't see no negatives into it. It's just that it's just a whatever ability. It feels iffy. Because I feel as though if you really want the luxury so bad, then you could just fucking conquer or some shit. I don't know. Like, perhaps I'm not thinking hard enough as to why it will be so useful, but like, whatever. But the 3 golden culture for each unique luxury, you import, export, that's, I mean, that could be something. Of course, scales the arrow, so it could be great in the late game too, but like, I have not experienced that as playing Netherlands. I'll just be honest. Now, all that being said, I have kind of lacking when it comes to Dutch Netherlands experiences since if I'm right, I only played Netherlands probably like 4 times. So have that grain of salt in mind. Yeah, so I may have lack of experience because of playing them. Now we got the polders right here. Can only build on marsh tiles or on featureless land coastal tiles adjacent to at least 3 land tiles. Polders built on water can be purchased by land units without embarkation, as if they are land tiles. Now the base. If I show the base yields are +1 food, 2 production, 2 gold. Now if we click out here, I'm gonna show it right here. With economics, it increases the production by 1, increases the gold by 2. And the chemistry is wow. It's literally the same shit as France with the chateaus and shit. I forgot. It goes from like economics to like fucking chemistry. Well, I won't say it's that big of a jump on like France's chateau upgrades. So I'll give it that. But like +1 culture though, whatever. Look, the girls are just whatever in my opinion. That's the controversial part. No one wants to hear it. It's just fucking whatever. And then we get the sea beggars. Socializing attacking coastal cities and capturing enemy ships. Starts with Vanguard and Supply. Now, Vanguard, if I need to remind you, increases the combat strength when attacking cities by 125%, and also like decreases damage from cities by 50%, which will always be nice, I will say. Supply is forever nice. Can heal outside friendly territory. +5 healing, HP health when healing. Damn. You heal outside friendly territory is nice, and usually with the even like in neutral territory, you can't heal a naval unit, so this will always be useful, always. And added by the fact that this is slightly stronger than the Corvettes. Only by 2, but still. Same movement. It's just a better Quinquereme, which is useful. It's not fucking useless. So, and with the whole adding up, the Netherlands is middle B tier. Yeah. That's all I gotta say. Let's move on already. Last but not least, we got Denmark. Yay. Embark units gained. I'm not gonna say the fucking unique ability's name. Embark units gain +1 movement to pay just 1 movement to embark or disembark. This is useful when naval invading, by the way, especially in the early game, or at least mid game at least. When pillaging land units and naval units, earn more HP and gold, deals 10 damage to adjacent enemies, and spends no movement. So, decent abilities. Yeah, I got nothing else to say. Then we got the Runestone, which is supposed to be the replacement for the Lighthouse, but you can build this anywhere. +100% production towards melee, gunpowder, and naval melee units. This is just nice, wonderful. This is just straight up great for warring. +2 food and +1 gold from coastal and ocean tiles. Which I think is just a bit better than the Lighthouse itself. Former connection, whatever. When a unit creates by the city, just a tile, gain 30 culture and the city, scaling with the area, obviously. So, and plus it also comes with +2 culture anyway. So, this is just a solid building. I got nothing else to say. And the last but not least, the Berserker. That attack for the coast, starts with amphibies and charge 1, which increases damage to wounded enemies. And for the amphibious, it's just limits combat penalties for attacking from the sea or over a river. Nice. Crossing river only costs 1 movement. Norse crane costs in marshes. And even better, this comes out earlier, if I can see right here. Available at a classical area with discovery of metal casting earlier than the pikemen. Nice. You essentially. Now, this is just slightly a bit stronger than the pikemen. Yeah, I mean, this is a wonderful unit. This is wonderful for like, especially wonderful for like a naval war or some shit. But like I said, that's less common, and you're usually going to see this being used inland. Now it'll still be useful, especially like crossing lakes or some shit. Maybe the enemy built like a fucking moat with like forts and citadels around it. You can just go past it with like through the lakes by using their abilities and stuff. So yeah, I mean this is just solid military unit. And with the final civ, uh, yeah, screw it. You were putting your ass in B. Well, bottom of A. Uh, you know, even with the earlier tech when it comes to like metal castings, I'm just like, you know, where like usually the tech that has the pikeman is, it's still a bit late when it comes to like conquering stuff. But even with the with the berserker, it will be compounded with the fact that it gains just an extra movement point when embarked, and just pays one extra movement just to embark as a whole or disembark. So, with all that being said, added by the fact that you can build the route anywhere, increase the production towards the military units, to say military gunpowder and naval melee units. So, with all that being said, bottom 8, here you go. Yeah. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I do admit I love making this series. It was like probably the best fun I ever had making a video in quite a while. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Like and subscribe as always. I mean, now I would love for you to like too, because I do need it. I need the moral support as much as I can. So thank you. Thanks for watching. And yeah, Croner out, I guess.